According to the International Center for Research on Women, in developing countries, 1 in 9, and we want to emphasize the importance of reintroducing the Bill of International Protecting Girls by Preventing Child Marriage Act into Congress. Child marriage is defined as a formal marriage or informal union entered into by an individual before reaching the age of 18. Child marriage occurs when a girl is not given the choice to marry who she wishes. This is a global issue that affects Africa, Asia, South and Central America, and even the US. Our goal is to persuade and urge the global leaders to highlight the issue of child marriage and begin to solve and eradicate this harmful practice. This practice does not involve cultural relativism because it promotes harm, and anything that promotes harm should not be protected but instead changed. Cultural relativism is the principle of regarding the beliefs, values, and practices of a culture from the viewpoint of that culture itself. There are four main issues connected with child marriage, and those issues are health, poverty, domestic violence, and education. In health, girls younger than 15 are 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than those in their 20s. 2 million women suffer from obstetric fistula, and over 6,000 adolescents are affected by HIV daily. Child marriage affects a girl's health not only physically but as well as socially and mentally. Child marriage also affects those in poverty. Girls living in poor households are 2 times more likely to marry before age of 18. The dowry connected with brides or children who are seen as burdens are 2 reasons why child marriage are so frequent in poor countries, such as Niger, Ethiopia, and Malaysia. Child marriage is more frequent from those in poverty. Consequently, this act creates more poverty from keeping people from the workforce. Child marriage is also in education. When a girl is forced to become a child bride, they are often also forced to drop out of school. Girls with secondary education are 6 times less likely to marry as a child, while 60% of girls in Mozambique with no education are married by 18. Child marriage also brings domestic violence. Child marriage is linked to domestic violence, which seriously endangers the physical and mental health of women and puts the lives of women and girls at risk. Girls who are married before 18 are twice as likely to report being beaten, and in Kenya, 36% of women who are married under 18 believe a man is justified in beating his wife. Child marriage leaves a lot of residual effects. Child marriage is a traumatic experience that has no end for some. According to JAMA News, over 50% of women married before the age of 18 suffer from a mental disorder, including depression and specific phobias. 39% of these girls will never get help without any action of others. Girls also face the risk of dying during childbirth or being forever faced with fistula. Girls' bodies are not ready to give birth or be a sexual partner and a wife. This is not only physically harming, but mentally too. With the marriage comes less education, and with no education, this vicious cycle of marriage, death, and cell-like life continues. Child marriage violates articles of the UDHR. It predominantly violates Article 16 on marriage and family. It also often violates Article 4, no slavery, and Article 26, right to education. With Article 16, girls often have no choice in who they are married to and if they even want to get married in the first place. This contradicts the article, which states full consent is needed from the 2 involved parties. These marriages consistently present themselves as a form of slavery for the bride. When married, the expectation put upon these children are to cook, clean, and have children, for which they are not at all ready for. Consequently, all these expectations put upon them prevent these girls from receiving an education, whether it be the problem of lack of funds or the lack of permission. An act that violates one article is wrong, but the fact that this practice violates 3 separate articles shows that there is something seriously wrong with child marriage. We need a plan of action. According to By the Numbers of Child Marriage, there are 2 prominent ways in which the nation can help eradicate child marriage. The forced marriage of millions of children around the world needs to come to the end, and by providing opportunities for young women and maximizing aid dollars, we can. When creating opportunities for women, we create the opportunity to demolish child marriage. With increased education, women are more aware of what possibly will be or is their own situation. Also, with job opportunities, women will have the chance to provide for themselves and not have to depend on a spouse. As Kundan Shrivastava said, when girls are not educated, everyone suffers. An educated girl, an educated future. We can also maximize aid dollars. With implementing child marriage prevention initiatives into already existing aid programs, you can give access to natal and mother health care along with giving girls access to education. We reduce poverty this way by helping further the communities and, in turn, the world. In the country where child marriage is most relevant, so is the poverty. Eradicating child marriage would solve 10 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN. The top 5 issues it would solve would be goals number 1 through number 5. No poverty, no hunger, good health, well-being, quality education, and gender equality. According to the ICRW, if nothing changes, another 100 million girls will be married within the decade. If child marriage continues, we will not advance as a world. We need to end this practice now, no matter what the material cost. We can't wait for someone else to change the world. The only heroes that will step up are ourselves.